Hey, I am John Barker, and welcome to another episode of Here to Record Show and Tell. This is the show all about the gear you need for live streaming, event videography, and all that cool stuff. And today we're going to take a look at the Blackmagic Design SmartView Duo. This is the device here in my rack case, and you can see that it's a 3U unit, dual screens, rack mountable SDI monitoring solution. Let's take a closer look at the device. Yeah, like I said, it's a 3U unit. I noticed I'm missing a screw up at the top here, but it's quite tight in this rack. But basically, you get two 8-inch screens. These are a resolution of 800 by 480, and they're TFT screens. So I can tell by sitting at this angle that there is definitely an optimal viewing angle for these screens. But they're quite nice. They're quite small. They fit nicely into this 4U case. So let's take a look at the back of the unit. For that, I'm going to just pop over to the computer because I have mine installed in this case. It might be a bit more tricky to take it apart. But here on the Blackmagic Design website, I can see on the back we have SDI in and SDI out of this left-hand monitor. You have tally, you have in and out of Ethernet. Just underneath that little magnifying glass, you can see there's a USB port for software updates. You have a power port for powering the device, and then you have SDI in and SDI out for the monitor on the right hand side. So that's basically a look at the device from the front and the back. It's pretty simple, it's very thin, and like I say, it sits in a rack case like this, portable rack case, sits in there very nicely. The device, it will auto detect what you plug in, so between SD, HD and 3 gig SDI, so that's 2K or HD or SD you can plug in there, which is really nice. Plug it in, each one will detect what you plugged in, and we'll show you that. Next up, let's just take a look at the device software. So I plugged in the USB cable at the back, and I'll just plug this into my computer now. And if I pop over to, it's called the SmartView setup. Here I can see my SmartView Duo. I'll pop into the settings, and in here I'm able to set some settings for left monitor, right monitor, or both monitors at the same time. So let's do the left monitor. Now, the first thing you want to just check out is this little identify thing. So if I take that on and off, and you can see over here, you can see that this white line is coming around the screen. So that's how you know which screen you're manipulating. If I just go back over and click on both monitors and click identify, you can see that both monitors have a line around them. And let's just stick with both monitors, and I can take the brightness down, and you can see that on the screen as I pull it up and down. You can see it getting brighter and darker. I'll just put that back to 50, that's where I like it at. Contrast, again, you can see that being played with. Stick it on 100. And saturation, you can probably, you can see it's black and white now, very colorful now, and let's just put that back to 100. There we go. Okay, so you can individually mess with each monitor if you want. Perhaps you have a setup where you want the left monitor to have a certain brightness and the right monitor have a different brightness. You can do that. I like to just play with them both at the same time. Other than that, you can go into the configure tab, you can give it a name, and you can also use DHCP, which is nice, so it finds an IP address on your network. In here you can also update the software, but it looks like things are pretty up to date for me. And I can just save that, and that gets remembered on the device. And the way I use this particular one is it's my main monitors for live recording and at conferences and stuff. As you can see here, I put the multi-view in the left-hand monitor, and that just has all my ATEM, the multi-view options in there, preview program, all my inputs. Right now I've only got one camera in there, but you can see that. And then on this side, I actually, instead of running program to this side, I actually run auxiliary 1 from my ATEM 1ME. And this allows me to put the program on there, which is what I have on there right now, but I can also route one of the cameras on there just so I can double check that it's framed up nicely. So I like that flexibility of having a different view on each window. That's why I use the auxiliary. So then I can just look at program, or I can look at an individual camera, or whatever I want to do. So I like that about the device. But of course, if you're looking for something a little bit different, you can also go for the big, 17.3 1080p monitor from Blackmagic Design, or you could go for the scopes version, which will show you scopes on the screens. For me, this is perfect. I just wanted to monitor my camera angles coming out of my ATEM and what I'm recording. So this is perfect for me in this setup. A couple of the pros on the device for me, I think, definitely the size of the screens. They are nice big 8-inch screens, which is really nice for my setup. I usually sit pretty close to it, so that's a good size for me. Another thing is the adjustable brightness. Really helps in a really dark room. You can bring that right down, or if you're working somewhere that's outside or in the middle of the day, you can also bring that brightness up again. So I find them pretty good for that. Certainly a con would be the resolution. Because it's not HD screens, you can't really use them to make sure your focus is correct. So in that case, it's definitely a con for me. It's because I travel so much with these screens. These are probably the biggest screens I can bring around easily in my equipment boxes. So to have screens that I could use to focus would be really nice. But for me, they're pretty good. I can also look at my camera, and I do also have a couple of other little devices I can use for checking focus. But I do wish that they were a little bit better quality. And a second con, I think, for me would be that it's just a little small for multi-view. So like I say, this is the only screen I'm able to carry around based on my equipment setup. But for 8-bit multi-view, this is probably at the minimum amount that you want, 8 inches. Anything smaller than that for a multi-view, it would be difficult to see what's on there. So I think this is just the bare minimum, if not a little too small. But other than that, I really like the device. So finally, let's just talk about price. So for this, I bought this for about £410, which works out to be, let me just check, yeah, about $495, excluding taxes and stuff. So it's certainly not cheap, but I think it's pretty inexpensive for what you get. If you were to buy two separate little LCD monitors, you'd be looking at around the same price. So for this rack mountable setup with SDI and all that, it is a really good price for that. And there's not that many other things out there that would do the same thing for cheaper or even around this price. So it's a really good device for that. So I definitely would recommend it if you're looking at sort of a portable setup like I have. And thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, just leave them below and I'll try and get back to you. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time.